Hello, I'm Persephone, and welcome back to my channel, which is My Analog Girl Life. This video is about why I use planners, why I use the ones that I use, and how they work together. So grab yourself a nice cozy drink, or grab your laundry basket and fold your laundry, and let's just chat it out. So we're going to talk about a few different planners that are in my system, and I want to acknowledge that for some people, multiple planners, it can sound complicated. But for me, it's actually simpler and it supports my life. So I'm going to talk about the Passion Planner, which is my everything catch-all, couldn't live my life without it planner. I'm going to talk about my Laurel Denise Nancy, which is a horizontal orientation that I also use. And then I probably won't go into too much detail, but I've also just started using a Laurel Denise wall calendar for content planning now that I am back to my YouTube channel. So I have been planning since before it was cool. I promise you that. I was using hourly planners in the 90s. I think it was the At a Glance hourly planners, and I would get the 4-pack of Papermate flares that came in, I think, red, blue, black, and green. And that was pretty much what you got. And I color coded, and it got me through some parts of my life where I just had a lot going on that I needed to manage. So that's where it all began. And then over the years, I have tried different layouts, different systems, different formats, and different things have worked for me over the years. And I've taken a different approach to planning here and there over the years, depending what my life looked like. So what I'm doing now is the result of lots of experience of planner using, and the result of just knowing myself and knowing what my brain needs to function. It's not about perfection. I like it to look nice, but it's not really about aesthetics or beauty. It's about supporting my life. It's definitely not about perfection. I love, what is it? The Laurel Denise gals always say there's no perfect in planning. So, anyway, this system that I'm going to share with you, it is a practiced system. It's a lived-in system. I have been known to try different planners now and again and appear to planner hop, but really this is what runs my life. When I go looking for the aesthetics, and what is the most, although these planners are absolutely beautiful, don't get me wrong, but aesthetics isn't necessarily what works for my brain. I need the system that works for my brain. So why do I use paper planners at all? Why don't I just use a Google Calendar or something like that? And besides the fact that I've been using paper planners since long before those digital options came on the scene, and my channel name speaks for itself. I'm an analog girl. I'm a little bit terrified of how digital our world has gotten, if I'm being honest. But digital planning simply does not work for my brain. Sorry, I keep bumping my camera. I'm new at this. Digital planning just doesn't work for me. My brain needs pen and paper. So my planner, I think of it as an extension of my brain. If I don't write it down, it may as well not exist. And even when I can remember something without writing it down, holding it in my head takes energy. It takes space, and it creates stress. And I don't have time for any of that. Like, my brain is perimenopausal and it cannot handle all of that. So when I write something down, it externalizes it. And once it's written, it's real, it's contained, it's not rattling around in my brain, causing stress. So I know a lot of people, well, not a lot, I know some people who are kind of opposed to planning, or the idea of planning makes them feel stressed out. But for me, my planners exist to reduce my cognitive load and the stress that I'm carrying. It's a relief. It's not about controlling my life. It's about understanding it, and living through it. I don't use just one planner. I use a couple here, a 3. And again, that might seem like a lot for some people. But for me, one planner trying to do everything can be a bit overwhelming. If I were trying to do everything in my passion planner that I do in my Laurel Denise, at the same time as everything else I do in my passion planner, that would be so overwhelming. Different parts of my life need different kinds of attention. And the separation can create clarity for me. The way I use them, I use my Laurel Denise for like health, wellness, weight loss goals, things like that. And I don't want that competing visually or emotionally with what I'm doing in my passion planner. So having a couple of different options gives me fewer decisions about where things go in each one, and each of them has a very clear job. So the first one I'm going to talk about is my catch-all, my everything planner, my passion planner. Now, I have been using the passion planner, I think, on and off since 2017. I think that's the first year I started with it. But over the last 3 years, it has been a constant. I've been pretty consistent with it. And anytime I try to deviate from it, I come back to it. It's just what my brain needs to keep it all straight and to function. So this is the planner that has my whole life overview, all the timed commitments and appointments, my to-dos, things like that. I have a lot going on in my life for someone who likes to live a slow, intentional, easy breezy life. I have a lot going on. I have 2 part-time jobs, a business where I'm teaching yoga, and doing some other things. I have a book club that I run. I have a social life that's important to me. And then there's the other doctor's appointments, tattoo appointments. Those are very important to me. Various things like that. So I use the passion planner is an hourly layout, and I will show you, if I can here without making too big of a disruption, a blank page. Let me move this candle out of the way so I don't burn my house down. Let's move some of these things now. Okay. So here is my passion planner and its layout. So it is a timed hourly setup with space down here for pretty much anything you want. And I'll show you in a dedicated passion planner video how this works for my needs and how I'm able to track absolutely everything. But I color code in it based on my different life areas and types of activities and appointments I have. You can see a little bit here. I don't want to go too much into that. The bottom section I divided into to-dos. So I have my personal, I have my job. I work, I'm an office manager and yoga teacher at a chiropractic office. My other job, I do administrative work for a counseling center. I have this YouTube channel now. I have my book club, but the things I track, I keep at the bottom. Like book club would go under personal. I have my first job, my second job, my business, and YouTube that I track, keep track of my to-do list for the week. And I like to have open space, and I'll talk more about this. So basically, I color code in ink those appointments. When I'm teaching yoga, when I have to be at work, when I have a date with someone, like a friend date. So I am married. If my husband watches this, don't freak out. I just mean a friend date. So I don't mind the white space. It gives me reassurance that I have plenty of room in my schedule to do everything that I need to do, but also to do the things I want to do, like sit down with a cup of tea and read a book. In fact, my tea is calling to me right now. So I will just pencil in my tasks each day that I think fit nicely into that day that I need to get done. So that's why I use, and kind of an overview of how I use the Passion Planner. And then I use my Laurel Denise, Nancy, which I used one all last year. And it worked really well. I'm using it again this year, a small one. And I'm using it for health, wellness, my physical activity. I track my steps. I track my weight daily, how I feel physically and emotionally. So I put my weight here, a couple things I'm tracking here, the food that I eat during the day, sorry, I'm bumping my camera again, my physical activity, and any notes I want to keep about meals I plan to eat, or recipes that I'm trying, things like that. So it's a project. I mean, it's also, it's fun for me. I am also a nutritionist. And so keeping track of these things, and I mean, it might sound goofy, but like for me, it's like a game seeing like how much nutrition can I pack into a meal for the least amount of calories. That's what I do. It's fun for me. So anyway, I keep all of that in here, and it doesn't belong in the Passion Planner because there's a different emotional tone to it. It's more journally than planning. I'm more journaling after the fact, taking notes, things like that. And it's too much detail. It's too much detail. When you see my individual videos on each of these planners, you'll see why and how full they both get. So it's really simple for me. If it happens at a specific time, it's the Passion Planner. If it's about my body, health, habits, my wellness habits, it goes in the Laurel Denise. If I need to see it across my whole week, it's my Passion Planner. So, and then of course I have, I just got the brand new Laurel Denise wall calendar, which I'm really excited about, and just started using it with sticky notes to plan for my YouTube schedule. So I'm really excited about that, but I'm not going to go into any real detail about that, because when I say that's a new system, I mean like today I sat down with it and made the stickies, and I've been playing with it. So maybe if you're interested, once I get it going and it's really working for me, I can talk about how I do that and how it's working for me. So The two main planners that I use, I think of them, the Passion Planner is really great for people who are juggling many life areas. People who don't have a lot of repeating things happening in their schedule, but have a more inconsistent and flexible schedule. So maybe freelancers, part-time workers, creatives, anyone who needs to visually time block their day. And then the Laurel Denise, the Nancy is really great it is great for health and wellness and fitness tracking. Like, I'm excited to share that video with you, how I do that and how I use it. It's really great for short form daily journaling. I think it would be great for like pulling a tarot card a day and just journaling a few sentences about it, or, something like that. Especially for people who are learning that skill. It's good for people with consistent schedules who want to use it as their main planner. Like, maybe you have a regular 8 to 5 job and you go to church on Sunday morning and you have these really set scheduled things that you're not worried about forgetting. So you just need to track the occasional doctor's appointment or lunch date with a girlfriend or something like that. It's really good for that. It's good for people who need lists and notes more than timed appointments, I would say. But, you can find, there's so much content on the Laurel Denise channel about how to use their planners. So anyway, that is all I have to say for today, I do believe, about my planner ecosystem. So, the long and the short of it is my planner system supports my life. I think it's important to use the right number of planners that support your life and make it feel clearer and calmer and more intentional. So for a lot of people, that's going to be one planner. For some people, that's going to be 2 or 3. And that's, whatever works for you is, you do you. That's great. So anyway, I would love for you to reflect a little bit on what your brain needs out of a planner and let me know. And let me know what your current planner setup is, or any questions you have, anything in particular you want to see. I do have some videos coming that'll be more deep dives into how I use the Passion Planner and how I use the Laurel Denise. Nancy. I think that is it for today, my friends. So have a lovely day, and thank you for joining me, and I will see you next time.